So, first of all, thank you. As you all may aware that this is the fourth session of talk series, and when we say fourth session, we have a methodology where we organize the session wise, and each session uh, consist of 12 modules. And right now we have already completed 36 modules. So now we are entering into the next phase where we will be looking for more broader role of collaborations, how it can actually generate, create, and share the knowledge. This is one of the strong platform where you all of us are not just a participant or a speaker or but everybody is a partner. Everybody contributes in this kind of thing. And I welcome all of you and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. With this, I don't want to take too much time, so I want to pass the mic to our program director, Simon Batchelor, to take the session from here. Yes, Simon.
Oh, thank you very much, Vimal. Welcome to everyone. As Vimal said, it's the fourth series in these series of webinars, and I'm delighted to just introduce this one. The focus is on policies, and I have just come back from the Netherlands, where a group of international agencies met to see how they could take the e-cooking agenda forward globally in this very challenging environment. I think it's fair to say that the landscape of development aid has changed dramatically over the last 2 months. But that doesn't necessarily hold back e-cooking, and it is relatively, it has its own momentum, which I think is not dependent on any particular international agency or aid. Pre-Netherlands, there was, of course, the Global Energy Forum of UNSC for All, with many people talking about e-cooking. But I think that's an interesting illustration, particularly for you there in India, because the mantra was very much about integrated energy planning. For too long, cooking has been isolated, and indeed, the danger of a seminar or webinar on cooking is that it only attracts the usual suspects, when what we actually need are for the utilities and those engaged with electricity generation to consider how e-cooking could give them a win-win-win. It enhances the demand for electricity, which should then be able to feed finance back into the infrastructure, and then households themselves are saving money. And this is all based on money that is in the economy because they're already spending it on polluting fuels. And it's about pivoting from polluting fuels into clean cooking. I'm aware that the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is going to speak after me. And that's a great example of where, you know, a ministry that is focused on cleaning up the electricity generation supply and introducing things like rooftop programs, etc. That is going to dovetail and complement any actions on e-cooking, particularly those actions that include energy efficient appliances. And I think that's where the emphasis has to be. Energy efficient appliances give the best return for each household, or indeed school or institution or commercial enterprise. And as long as we focus on that, then as the Indian grid evolves over the next 20, 30 years into a zero carbon grid, then there'll be win-win-win all the way along. Vimal, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for letting me introduce this webinar, and I hope we have a great discussion over the next hour.
Yes. Thank you, Simon, for your warm introduction. Why, how it is important what happening globally, and we are very astonished to see especially in the last 2 months development. And we are happy, and India is always play important role. With this, I like to invite our next speaker, Sri J.K. Jethani ji. Sri J.K. Jethani ji is the Senior Director in MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, and we'd like to hear his view how the ministry is actually supporting this cause. It is one of the most important stage where we are right now. So with this, I request Jitanji, please take the session from here.
Thank, thank you, Amalji, for inviting me in this webinar so that I can also share my views also from the Government of India's perspective. So as rightly pointed out that the energy efficiency can bring a lot of change. And we have seen it when we started that program related to the Ujala, wherein the old incandescent bulbs or the LCD bulbs, it's earlier that we used to have the incandescent bulbs, and thereafter we have some other kind of bulbs. This has been replaced by the LED bulbs, and overall around 370 million such bulbs have been replaced, and that has saved a lot of energy. I think more than 20 gigawatt or something like that. Taking these forward, the Energy Efficiency Services Limited, the ESL, which has implemented this Ujala scheme, they came up with the energy efficient, because since it is an agency which is promoting the energy efficient equipments, of course, we have the separate statutory body called Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which initiates such schemes and program, including the standards and labeling. We know the start labeling of the appliances. So ESL is the implementing body. They implement on the ground, and they have taken this Ujala scheme. They have also taken the replacing of the street lights. You may be aware that earlier it was the sodium vapor lights, 70 watts more than. They have replaced these sodium vapor lights into the LED lights, which are 10 watts, 20 watts or so, saving a lot of energy that is being used for these appliances. They have initiated one of the program, the National Energy Efficient Program, wherein they are now targeting to deploy around 100 million energy efficient fans. These are the BLDC fans. And they're also targeting to deploy the around 2 million induction cooking stoves. So since the topic of the webinar is related to e-cooking, so of course the induction cooking is the most efficient. If we compare with the other cooking, it is around 75% or so energy efficient. Cooking is the need of every family, and in rural India particularly, I would say that before the launch of this Ujjwala scheme, wherein the LPG cylinders were provided to the rural families, around 60 to 70% rural families were using biomass for their cooking needs. And these things were creating issues related to the health problems, their drudgery in collecting these firewood or the cordon or all these things, and taking that to bring them out of these things, providing them the clean source of energy. The Ujjwala scheme, wherein the LPG cylinder, one cylinder with cook stove was being provided. It started in 2016, and in 2020 it was further enhanced So total 103 million families have been given the Ujjwala connections. What have been observed that the in rural area, one, it is very difficult to get the refilling of the cylinder because the distributors are far. Also, the cost of cylinder, even if it is subsidized, the cost of cylinder as of now, I think around 800 rupees or so. So the poor families may not be able to afford this 800 rupees for a cylinder. Therefore, we have to work out what are the other alternative arrange options to provide affordable cooking needs. So we have worked out whether we can develop the solar cooking systems. In 2017, the ONGC had a competition wherein they have selected the model developed by the IIT Bombay. And in that model, the IIT Bombay has developed the DC induction cooker stove using solar panel, batteries, and the charge controller. That won the first prize, and some of the systems were deployed in a village called Bancha in Madhya Pradesh. These were successful, of course, but what I have observed, I have also visited that village and interacted with the families. They were using these induction cooker stoves. However, some of the dishes or the cooking requirements is not possible with the induction cooker stove. What I have observed and the feedback I have got from them. So there is a need for the developing the new habits, or I would say the mindset and operational behavior. If we want to say that no, we need a smoke food, then it is not possible in the e-cooking. For that, of course, you need the biomass or coal or something like that. But we have to educate that such kind of habits may not be healthy, and therefore there is a need to create more and more awareness among the people. We are implementing a scheme called the PM Suryagar, wherein we are providing solar rooftops for 10 million households, and under which a subsidy of 78,000 rupees for a normal category of states or UTs, and in special category states and UTs, it is 10% higher, so around 85,800 from the government of India, and that is for a rooftop system up to 3 kilowatt capacity. 13 states and UTs have also declared their additional subsidies. Now I think it is 14 because Rajasthan has recently declared that they will also give 17,000 rupees for per rooftop connection under the PM Suryagar scheme. The subsidy from the state and UTs as high as 45,000 rupees per kilowatt in Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep. So for the first kilowatt, I would say that 30,000 the central government is giving, and in for say the special UTs 33,000. 33,000 plus 45,000. So in case of Andaman Nicobar, people are getting as high as 78,000 rupees for per kilowatt as a central subsidy. Now, when they get this kind of subsidy, they can install rooftop. They can also fulfill their cooking needs using these solar rooftop. Because with 1 kilowatt of rooftop, on an average, we can get 4 units of electricity in a day. And we are going to install a 3 kilowatt system, it's 12 units. In general, a small family requirement of electricity needs is around 5 to 6 units during winters and maybe around 10 units in the summers. Since you have installed 3 kilowatt or more and you have this units generated that is more than your need, you can use the same power for the electric cooking using the induction cook stove. And as I mentioned that for the induction cook stove, there is a scheme by ESL and they are providing the cook stove, induction cook stove at a very cheaper rate, and I think around it's 1200 rupees only. And as the induction cook stove is most efficient as compared to the other cooking needs, and mostly all the dishes, Indian dishes, can be cooked on this induction cook stove, and that has been demonstrated uh, at a large scale by the ESL. All kind of, even if you want to cook the roti, chapati, the Indian bread, that is also possible on the induction cooker stove. So sometimes it happens that people don't want to use induction cooker. It may not be possible to cook the Indian dishes there, which is not correct. The only thing is our mindset has to be changed, because when we saw the flame, then only we think that there is a cooking is happening. Otherwise, we think that cooking is not there. That kind of mindset is there, which needs to be removed, or that education or awareness has to be created. I would also like to mention here that the IOCL, they have also developed one solar cook stove that is called Saur Nutan. This is a kind of thermal battery. The solar panel is, there is solar panel, then there is a heating element which heats and stores heat energy in a thermal battery, and using that thermal battery you can cook your meals. So, and they have the different models for breakfast, lunch, model for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even now the twin burner system they have also brought in. The issue with the deployment of that solar cook stove is the cost. At present, the cost is around 45,000 or so. And I earlier mentioned that even for a rural family they are not able to afford 800 rupees cylinder. So it will be very difficult, or it's not possible for them for purchasing this kind of costly solar cooking system. And it also has some issues in the sense you can't be dependable on completely on such kind of solar cooking systems. Suppose during monsoon for the 4 days, there is a complete cloud coverage, no sunshine. It will not be possible to use that. So in such a case, cooking is a need where you need instant solution. You can't say that no, it should be user friendly, it should be affordable, it should be reliable. So for that, wherever the grid connectivity is there, the induction cooker stove, being the efficient one, can be used as compared to the biomass or LPG. Because biomass is outrightly not recommended because it has a lot of issues. LPG, because we are importing LPG, so it is a burden on the forex of the country, and definitely slowly the cost will go up. We should go towards the clean energy which is sustainable. Therefore, promoting more and more solar would be beneficial. Uh, in under PM Surya, though we have the target of only say 10 million households, but this target can be further increased depending upon the requirement. With the subsidy available, the electricity that you get under the scheme would be as low as maybe 2 rupees, 3 rupees, but much more cheaper than the grid power available. Loan is also available, so that that is also at 6 rupees. That is at 6.75% interest rate. At this cheaper interest rate, you are saving the electricity bill from the day one. We are suggesting more and more people to apply for this PM Surya scheme, and utilization of this energy that they have installed, they can also use the e-cooking system. We may also request the states to, suppose I mentioned that the 14 states are also providing some kind of subsidy for the installation of rooftop. They can come up with some kind of uh, scheme wherein they can provide, say, induction cooker stove as a gift to those who are deploying the, or they are those who are applying for the PM Surya scheme. This could be one option where we can promote the e-cooking. And the cost is not much. As I mentioned that under ESL, we are getting this induction cooker only just for say 1200 rupees or so. So I will request the, Mr. Vimalji, you can also put a kind of policy suggestion to the states that those who are applying for the PM Surya may be given induction cooker stove as a gift or something like that. So that will promote the e-cooking, and that will reduce the LPG consumption. That will also help the rural families to reduce their biomass burning or other things. So these are my thoughts, and I would love to hear from other colleagues, friends of this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shri Jithanji, for your valuable input, and we are very happy to hear from the government that yes, electric cooking should be promoted under the PM scheme, not only for 10 million, but it actually go beyond that. And we understand that value of ESL. Fortunately, I'm using the ESL's office only. We had a some meeting, and from there only we are utilizing that space. So, as a strong partner, is very, very important to have the ecosystem. And during the beginning of my session, I mentioned that it is going to be the collaborative effort. The sector is very, very stage where may not be very vocal about themselves, but somebody need to talk how to solve these challenges. Economic wise, very not big opportunity for the manufacturer or anybody, but definitely the sector per se is important. So from the now government official, I would like to move to the next person. She is a very special person, Shweta Ravi Kumar. She is Executive Director for the FSR Global, and she actually engaged in a policy dialogue activities which focuses on strengthening the global South and South North Translational Research Exchange, which is important. And considering the sector require a lot of knowledge and the activities, and especially, I also want to highlight the Jethani's point that he mentioned that need to do something on the policy suggestions where the state can also pick along with the PM free business scheme, and in which the cooking can be the additional component of formally. So yes, Shweta, handing over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vimal, for the warm invitation and also that nice introduction. I have to concur with a lot of points that Mr. Jetani had pointed out, but particularly I also echo with what Simon mentioned in the very beginning. It's so refreshing and nice to see clean cooking becoming a part of the central debates. It's not a side note or a footnote in discussions anymore. And I think one of the sort of motivators for this discussion is the E in the clean cooking that you're bringing in. I think electricity is a tried and tested technology that we're all familiar with, just probably not all familiar with in the clean cooking space. But this could be a great way to sort of finally bridge the clean cooking gap in SDG 7 goals that we're all trying to fill, whereas energy access has made that leaps and bounds in terms of the strides in success globally. So I think for the intervention, I would broadly classify the e-cooking space into five buckets, just for ease of us to sort of understand and follow, and where policy or regulatory push can come in. And this could be also sort of the indicators for businesses and other service providers to see what's the gaps that they can fill. So I think first and foremost is on the appliances itself. When it comes to e-cooking, I think there are multiple devices and options available. And I think some of these options can do multi-cooking mode. So for instance, if you're using something like a microwave or an oven, they probably can do multiple functions. But if I'm using something just to boil my water or to boil a cup of tea or coffee, then it's a very specific function. Now, of course, this is still very high-ended appliances that I'm talking of, but whereas the basic cooking is also the essential cook stuffs that we're talking about. So what we need to understand is to classify first these different device options, its functionalities, and these options needs to be communicated to the target audience that we are trying to sort of inculcate into or move into e-cooking. Now, once we have done this classification, it's also important to assess the costing behind these different appliance categories. And to the most parts where we want people to switch from the traditional cooking methods to more cleaner cooking options, the cost becomes a critical component of this, right? So, and also that this means there has to be lucrative funding options being provided to that economic class segment in any particular country. Many a times, these families that would need to switch are the ones who are living on more short-term earning basis. That means their affordability to pay is low, and even if they do have certain limited funds, they probably the willingness to spend on cooking as an option might be even lesser. So we will need to sort of nudge them in the right directions. And I think here we don't have to look too far for some of the best practices. We can just look at what electricity access did with pay as you go as an option. So when pay as you go was introduced for solar home appliances or other productive uses of solar home systems or mini grid systems, what it essentially did was, one, it allowed consumers to gain access. Two, it started also helping sort of predict the financial behavior of these consumers, which then allowed for financiers to give top-up loans or top-up financial services to the same consumer class to go from basic access to more productive use or engagement. So I think a similar story or a similar pathway could be charted for clean cooking space, only now that within electric cooking, this could be given as an option. Again, within appliances, I think standards become very important. If you see the case of India, many of the middle income or even the lower middle income families would essentially try and experiment with the second-hand market or even substandards equipment being sold right on a footpath or in some homegrown markets around. So there is no way of controlling standards there, and because they appear to be affordable, although in the long run, probably they're burning their pockets twice or thrice over. In the immediate prima facie, the consumer thinks it's cheap, and so they buy these substandard products. So awareness needs to be again built that probably a slightly expensive but long-lasting product is something that can be tapped into, provided again a financial pathway is given. Now, if you look at the upper middle class or the higher income societies, I think they are looking to experiment with more smart devices and others. But again, within that arena, there's a very small, limited set of population that would subscribe to it. But again, India is moving towards many other smarter technologies. So this could be something that we can tap into the future. But we need to do bear in mind the digital divide and the different language barriers. So this needs to be kept in mind when we're looking at least markets or scales like India. And of course, into appliances, it goes without saying, user behavior and consumer preferences are needs to be factored in. As Mr. Jetani was mentioning before, different cultures have different preferences. So the Indian subcontinent's requirements need to be kept in mind when we're looking at these solutions. And awareness needs to be brought in by role models who are homemakers, other cooks, other practitioners who can say that the same traditional dish could be cooked through option A, B, or C. The second bucket is, of course, on the behavioral nudging itself. And I think it goes without saying that most of the successes policies world over have benefited when there is something in it for me. That me could be a consumer, a service provider, anybody. So if you're looking to onboard at a household level consumers to switch to e-cooking, then probably we'll have to show some sort of a benefits in terms of savings. It could be in their monthly budgets. Maybe switching to electricity also has friendlier on their pockets, which means we need to have lucrative tariff options being offered by discoms. Or the other way of nudging could be through the medical path, which means we're directly communicating about health benefits to consumers, which I think is happening. But the other side is what needs to be factored in. Now, the third bucket is, of course, the most important one, I would say, which is the role of discoms, because they are going to be the front line for consumers when we switch to e-cooking. Uh, I think first, even before we roll out massive e-cooking uptake plans, the distribution companies also need to identify how much of a load they expect because of e-cooking coming in. And based on that, there would have to be the appropriate grid enforcements. Again, all countries and cities don't sort of build and enlarge in the same way. There will be concentrated pockets of different economic classes, which means loads could be different. So the grid needs to be sort of reinforced in the correct way. And most important would be also reliability of supply of electricity to these to pockets where we are expecting e-cooking, because cooking is not an optional topic. When you're hungry or hungry, when you have to cook, you have to cook. So if there is a power cut, then that means it's going to delay or derail my entire day, which will have other economic losses as a society. So we need to make sure that reliability of supply is something that is essential. And of course, be it grid tied or off grid, either options. Demand response as an option for cooking is probably still a bit into the future, again, because as I said, cooking is usually classified as a non-interruptible load. That means even if it were to participate, it is not the first load that a consumer would take off at a given hour or time. It would preferably be some other load that would be taken off or would be deferred to. Then I would say we have two other, let's say, cross-cutting buckets. One is the substitutions. What we need to bear in mind is when we are asking consumers to move away from traditional cooking, that means we're taking away, we're nudging them into cleaner cooking options, surely, but it also takes away other benefits like heating options in winters, particularly, which goes unfactored in now. But if you take away that means the heating effect that was given by the traditional cooking stoves would need to be substituted with something else. So that's an additional technology to be factored in. On the flip side, in summer, you're saving on the cooling because, as you're all aware, India is gearing up for a really hot summer, with all of us having to probably will see sort of grid constraints. Again, these needs to be factored into the integrated resource planning that Simon was mentioning very much in the beginning. If we are able to predict and plan this in advance, I think this is not a most difficult problem to overcome. Then, of course, we'll have to also see how much of space would e-cooking carve for itself, as it would have to compete with some of the legacy cooking options. Gas infrastructure is coming in, and uh, e-cooking also is dependent on external imports of fuels. So we'll have to see how and what's the trade-off, be it at a country level or be it at a state level. So for this, we'll have to do some sort of a societal level benefit of mapping and mapping of benefits rather, and also at the consumer level, how this trickles down. And the last bucket that I would say is more cross-sectorial. We need to take into design considerations, be it at building level, urban planning level, and others, how cooking could become a more essential part of our e-cooking will become an essential part of design. I think many households are still not equipped to take on much of such loads, particularly older buildings. So that means architectural communities, design communities, interior design communities need to be also made aware that e-cooking option is not just about design aesthetics, it's also making sure electrical safety is something that we prioritize. And also building designs to factor in rooftop space, which is a constraint in many crowded parts of India, because we can't leverage those rooftops because it's sparse. And if it is, then probably there's a lot of shadowing between ununiform buildings in and around. So I think these are some of the key points to consider, both from a policy perspective and as a regulatory perspective, to keep in mind when we are starting to deploy e-cooking at large scale. I'll stop here for now, Vimal, and hand the floor back to you.
Thank you, Sweta. You touched upon some of very important topics. Vimal sir had to leave because some technical difficulties with his laptop. But we can continue from here. Our next speaker is Mr. Pramod Kumar Mishra, is Head of Distribution Planning, Central Engineering Services at BACS Rajdhani Power Limited, where he leads the Central Planning and Monitoring Group and the Project Management Office, overseeing strategic initiatives in power distribution and grid management. Sir, I will hand over the mic to you now.
Thank you, Finavista team and co-panelists, and thank you for having me here. And I'm Pramod Mishra. Thank you for warm welcome and invitation to this very, I would say, this is a program I have been attending for second time, and I'm personally as a planner see lot of merit in the program, in a sense that when DISCOM is suffering from many challenges, the induction cooking may come with some hope or some kind of synergy with the network planning. And this will actually complement the existing plan what DISCOM have generally, especially in the metro city and also in the rural arena of the country. I would take a point from cue from Sweta's presentation and discussion, wherein it was pointed out very clearly pointed out that load what these induction cooking will require is network ready. So we see two merits into it. One thing, yes, if you see the at least the metro cities, if I'm planning Delhi's load, so for Delhi, induction cooking load will complement the network requirement. So network is already there for induction cooking, because if you see the cooking hours, during the cooking hours, network is lightly loaded. So there is juice, there is potential to take the induction cooking load. Our peak comes during the day at say 3:30 p.m. or in the night say 11 p.m. During these peak hours, generally the cooking is not done. So, and the generally cooking is done in the morning or prior to 12 p.m. midday or 9 p.m. in the evening. In during these periods, network is very lightly loaded. So yes, network is ready to deliver the load to the induction cooking. So that is good part. And same is the story with all metro cities. So if you can, even if you can start with the metro cities or big cities, such kind of constraint will not be there for sure. This brings opportunity for discom. If you see discom's load factor, I would say load factor is the capacity installed versus the utilization. So if you take normally in the discom or even in the metro cities, it is of the order of 50%. So if induction cooking load comes, then this utilization of the network will increase. So without adding much to the network or grid, the discom will be able to cater the load of increasing induction cooking load. This will also improve the, I would say, yeah, operational cost per unit served. So that cost to delivery will improve, reduce, and this will enhance the discom's profitability and sustainability. Taking cue from here, if we take further, then this 10 million Surya Ghar Yojana will further add in, especially in the rural India. So this Surya Ghar Yojana will not only generate electricity, but it will also ensure that every house is connected with the adequate wiring support. So the network will come to the house because it has to be the generated electricity need to be evacuated to the grid. So the network spending will be like byproduct of this program. And with that program, the house can draw electricity with those networks during the cooking hours. Another thing which is coming up and may come up gradually, some pilot has been done abroad also in BSES. We are also doing one pilot on vehicle to grid. So apart from induction cooking, we are able to visualize that in time to come, this every car is getting converted or bike is getting converted into EV, electric vehicles. So that will be the potential storage source of energy. So when you have solar generation at home and also storage at home in the form of car uh, or other four-wheeler. So then you have both, so storage as well as the generation. So you can store at the time when you have higher generation and discharge at the time of need. So those are the technology also coming up, and that will ensure if even if there is failure in the grid or the grid connected power, you can locally have like V2X vehicle to load technology will ensure that every house or cooking is supported with the energy sources. So I think these two things will be handy for promoting the induction cooking. I will give you one more example. In Delhi, we have sold almost 6 million LED bulbs. We have replaced all those 60 watt and 100-watt IC bulb with 9-watt LED bulbs long back, with now conventional fan with BLDC fan, replacing old ACs with the five-star ACs. Why Discom is doing this? Because you see, this comp challenge is peak demand, not the sustained demand. Sustained demand is opportunity for discom. At the same time, peak demand is like challenge for the discom. Discom need to plan network based on peak demand. So if you see comparison of EV load versus induction load, then for discom, EV load is induction cooking load is dearer, and EV load is challenge for the discom because what happens, the EV load is generally actually it is coinciding with the existing peak of the discom, whereas cooking load is coming in the valley of the discom's load. So that way, induction cooking is preferable to the discom as far as discom's network planning is concerned. So I would say um, from the discom's planning perspective, uh, EV load is welcome, and discom is well prepared to handle or take on this EV load, and it will certainly help the financial of the discom. One thing I would like to here point out again, behavioral aspects. It also mentioned behavioral patterns. So sometime back we have done a behavioral energy program on 200,000 customers. What we have done in that survey was we have taken model customer control list of customers where energy consumption was studied, and based on those control lists, we have given monthly advisory to 200,000 customers, like it was peer comparison. So the control customer was from the same society, and it was advised that your neighbor is using electricity this much with the similar kind of appliances. However, your consumption with minor these tweaking, you can reduce your bills. And that has seen that those behavioral changes, the behavioral advisory programs, has seen the improvement in the consumption of the customer. This brings saving to the consumer's bill, at the same time reducing the peak demand for the discount. So just to mention for the benefit of viewers that during the peak hours, discoms energy per unit energy purchase cost is highest, and network is also on the highest level of stress. Technical loss is highest. So if we can somehow shift the peak demand from the peak to the valley, or during the off-peak hours, that's the best for the discom, and discom is striving for that through measures like battery energy storage and other storage mechanism, demand, time of day, time of use tariffs. So all these are the mechanism to promote or to shift the demand from peak to off-peak hours. The question comes that what discoms can, apart from the connectivity, providing connectivity to the such load or such customers, what discom, other thing discom can do? I personally feel that discoms being the regular connect from the customer, because they are at least reading the meter reading on monthly basis, providing day-to-day support to the customer for electricity needs. They are the better place to promote for induction cooking through their offices, their connects, and they can also kind of provide induction cookers through, like we have sold some Ujala programs, bulb. We are selling BLDC. We are promoting AC. Similar thing, induction cooking can be promoted, and discom can be like catalyst in that. Even the customers, these cooking appliances can come as part of the energy bill. It can be, I mean, collected, and those mechanisms can be explored because Discom is already connected with the customers. And I also feel that the Discoms or customer have more trust with the Discoms than anyone fresh comes in with any product. So these are my initial thoughts on network planning, readiness of Discom for induction cooking and related areas. Vimalji?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It is always very interesting to listen to discoms to which what they think about promotion of electric cooking, distribution and planning, cost, demand, etc. So thank you so much for your special remarks, sir. And with this, we will also will now move on to our first presentation of the day. So for that, I would like to invite Mr. Krishna Kumar Sinha, advisor, Finovista, and ex-industrial advisor, DIPP, Ministry of Commerce, Government of India. And Krishna sir has a background in mechanical engineering and specialization in production engineering, and he has over 35 years of experience in Ministry of Commerce, industry, automobile industry, export promotion, FDI promotion, and FDI policies. He has also experience in manufacturing and industrial policy. These are some intense activities that he has done. He has also designed our policy compendium this year. And so, welcome, sir. And uh, I'll share my screen. I think I have your presentation.
Thank you, Satyam, for a rather detailed introduction and good one. Anyway, thank you for giving me this opportunity as well. And what I propose to do is giving a overall picture of a kind of policy scenario, policy program, schemes, everything included at the moment. Because see, if you look at the different promotional uh, statement from the government for e-cooking, you won't find an exclusive one policy paper which is exclusively for electric cooking or clean cooking, whatever you may like to say. But I mean, the initiative have been taken by several departments and organizations. Unfortunately, we had Mr. Jethani from MNRE, and there are other organizations, Ministry of Power, EESL, Bureau of Energy Efficiency. They have taken several initiatives. I mean, if you present the complete scenario, one thing is clear: the commitment of the government to promote clean cooking in India. And to take you, what are the steps or initiative taken over the last, I would say, in the last one decade, or maybe slightly earlier, we all started it. So, I mean, I will take you through a set of slides. Uh, I mean, just telling you about these individually in brief. Of course, as you told, the Satyam informed you that there is a policy compendium which has been brought out by Finovista and the guidance from Modern Energy Cooking Services UK. And that is also, hard copy is also available, and of course soft copy is available. So whoever would like to know more details about the various initiatives or schemes can refer to that publication. But here my slides are there, about 20. I will go through quite fast. So next slide, please, Satyam. Yeah, I mean, uh, it just tells you about the Queen Cooking Challenge and the so many people which in the world, and especially in India, that suffers from the bad effects impact of the smoke which is generated by burning unclean, dirty biomass fuel for cooking purpose, and about 500 people altogether in India even still lacks, and despite the various initiative at the moment, and how it affects our environment, people's health, and overall socio-economic well-being is very clear. But the good part is that the policy maker is very clear about the need for shift to clean cooking in India, and it is amply clear because one of the report which was brought out by Niti Aayog on multidimensional poverty index, it mentioned cleaner fuel for domestic cooking as one of the index to measure the multidimensional poverty. So the government is well aware and is addressing the issue. And let us also refer to another report by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas in 2022. It brought out the green shift by Energy Transition Advisory Committee. And it also mentioned that it is possible to shift around 25% of the household to electricity for cooking purpose by 2030. So there is and the net zero target by 2070 obviously will require a transition in to cleaner cooking for cooking if we really have to achieve that. Next slide, please. Yeah, that's a graph showing the what are the major initiative taken by government for uh, promoting clean cooking in India. As you can see, one of the major, I would say, landmark was the launching of electric campaign, followed by the star labeling of the induction cooker stove by BEE, then the report of the green shift, which I earlier mentioned. And there are certain specific schemes which are certainly going to change the landscape in this. They are, I mean, which Mr. Jethani also mentioned about his ministries. PM's Prime Minister Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, which gives 300 units electric free. I mean, I will little more detail I will show you in another slide. Then the GST Council, which has reduced the GST rate on all solar cooking appliances to 12%. That's a good move. Um and of course, the clean, very recent uh, initiative by Ministry of Environment and Forest about the inclusion of clean cooking in Article 6 for to facilitate the carbon financing. So these are the broadly initiative. Let's move further. Next slide. Yeah, I mean, any story about the India's bid to transit from towards clean cooking wouldn't be complete without LPG adoption, because before that it was pure biomass, coal, and kerosene. I also understand. But I have just given a history of how we moved to LPG in 1955. Burma Shell, which is the earlier name of Bharat Petroleum, introduced it. 1965, Indian Oil began. But the real, I would say, the push was given by in 2016 under the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana for the poor households and women in poor household in particular, and that has resulted in overall LPG connection in India going up to 32.94 crores. That is covering almost the entire population. So that is a real challenge. But the challenge doesn't end here, as we see in the next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, the I mean, previous speaker have already spoken about the challenges in LPG, which one of them I have listed, that price volatility. I mean, it is a geopolitical, the Ukraine war or somewhere Middle East problem, the supply affected, and we see the price increase. So we are dependent on them. And our import dependency is in LPG is around 65%. That makes it even more difficult for us. So that affects the lower income group the most. And despite the subsidy, we have seen that the offtake of cylinder by poor household hasn't gone more than 3 point something so far. So that means, I mean, we expect an average household to consume at least uh, cylinder, 7 to 8 cylinder in a year. Against that, if actual pickup is around 3.4 or 3.7, that means that partially they are still using the biomass, which is not desirable, obviously. So, I mean, uh, the LPG has its own problem. So that's not the end of our, battle against unclean fuel. So as we move towards more cleaner and affordable and sustainable fuel, as we see in the next slide, please. Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm talking about the barriers for adopting electric cooking, because electric cooking seems to be the most possible option, affordable as well as practical. So, but what we see is that there is a culture of cooking where a previous speaker spoke about this flame. I mean, cooking without a visible flame is not. So that is a cultural binding, or there is a traditional cooking where we are not very satisfied because we feel that the flavor or taste is lacking. That has to be overcome, that behavioral barrier. The lack of awareness. It is awareness about the benefits of the coming out of the electric cooking, which is seen not only in health impact, economic impact, as well as you can feel the, I mean, overall well-being of the people. So apart from these individual issues, what happens that when you go for electric cooking, you also need the, uh, I mean, stronger electrical infrastructure that is to take up that extra load which may come in. And since it is also time that electric vehicles are also coming, so obviously charging of vehicles will also add to the load. So keeping in view that the strengthening of electrical infrastructure is a very, very need of the hour. Then, as we know that most of the electricity in India, even 70%, I suppose, is produced by burning coal. Now, somewhere in the beginning, we are burning a coal which is creating fumes, toxic gases. So that is, it's not the I mean, our objective of ultimate clean environment is impacted there only. So what we need is the greening of the grid. So greening of the grid means the more of renewable energy coming out of solar, wind, or maybe pumped storage kind of thing like. And uh, then the concessional tariff, because see the, the operational cost of cooking in terms of the electrical cost, in electric energy cost, which is in terms which is ultimately paid by the consumer, has to be met. So can we think about some concessional tariff? The time tariff has already been announced by the government, but I suppose it is only for the commercial user, not for the domestic user. Apart from this, the availability and affordability of the e-cooking device, mainly induction cooker stoves or electric pressure cooker, which are the most efficient electric cooking devices and can cook all kinds of food which we generally cook at home in India, can be done, but their prices are still on the higher side. They also need special utensil. So those things are to be addressed by promoting local manufacturing. And last but not the least, about performance and safety standard I have spoken. I think the Swetaji also spoke about the standards, and but I feel that there is a quality control order has already been issued by the concerned ministry about these. So government is working on those lines. Of course, I am not sure about the implementation side of that. Right. Next slide, please. Now, this was the landmark, as I earlier said, is the milestone in Go Electric campaign launched in 2021 by Ministry of Power, and the Bureau of Energy Efficiency under the ministry is the nodal ministry for that. It was followed because India became a power surplus nation in 2019, and also because a lot of integration of green energy started coming into the grid from solar, and India is become as a kind of leading nation as far as generation of renewable energy is concerned. So all those uh, made it possible that we go for electric cooking. And it looks like the most uh, viable option for clean cooking. Of course, the need for creating awareness is there, and I think under this campaign, BEE along with the state nozzle agencies are already working to promote it at the domestic level and also at the institutional level. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. That is the same thing I spoke about, the awareness campaigns, which is under the Go Electric campaign and BE is doing. And so straight away, we have already moved to the next slide, which is the greening of the grid. And what I would like to mention here that this greening of the grid, we have already installed renewable energy generation capacity up to more than 200 gigawatts, which accounts for around 46% of the country's total installed capacity for power generation, which as of today stands at 452 gigawatts. So we are moving in that direction. And I think most of quite 87% of the Indian households are grid connected. This figure may be not updated, may be higher than that, but that is what I had with me. Next slide, please. Yeah. Again, since the greening of a grid requires the renewable power generation and solar being the most, I would say the most abundantly available energy source here in our planet. So the National Solar Mission, which was last launched in the year 2010, is going to play a very, very important role, not only for reducing carbon emission, reducing indoor air pollution, and particularly in the rural areas could be very beneficial. There are several schemes which have been subsequently launched by the government uh, I mean, in the last 10 years, which I have mentioned. One is this schemes for development of solar parks and ultra mega solar park project. These are bigger parks have been designed because the overall cost per unit comes down when you go for bigger plants. It's a very general, I mean, economics. So that is what the objective is. And another one is a good initiative is launching of the production linked incentive scheme, PLI scheme, to produce the PV modules. I will go into detail in the another slide and just mention it. Then the PM Kusum Yojana, which is basically for agriculture purpose, but it promotes social power, solar power there. And last but not the least is rooftop solar program, which is solar rooftop Muft Bijli Yojana. I will go into more details in the next slide as we go. Please move. Next slide. Yeah, this one is on specific exclusively on PM Suryagar Muft Bijli Yojana, which I think Mr. Jethania mentioned. And this is, I mean, the target is to set up, this solar rooftop plant up to 1 crore in 1 crore household by March 27. And as far as the figures I got was that more than 1.45 crore registration has already been done, whereas the actual application, more than 25 lakhs have been received by December 2024. It gives a central finance assistance called subsidy, which is 30,000 rupees for 1 kilowatt, 60,000 for 2 kilowatt system, and up to 78,000 for 3 kilowatt, maybe. And it also offers interest loan, low interest loan at 7% for installation up to 3 kilowatt, which was mentioned earlier also. 300 units of electricity free every month. It can also lead to additional income through sale of surplus power to DISCOM. So it's going to be a game changer in my, as far as we understand it. Next slide. Yeah, here I have just given the details of production linked scheme on solar PV models. The need for this is very much because we are highly dependent on import for setting up our plant, and I think import bill reached around 7 billion in the year 2023-24, and if no efforts are made in that direction, our requirement of import is going to be $30 billion by 2030. But as I said, the government is well aware of this, and this scheme has been launched for local manufacturing promotion of solar modules. And hopefully, I mean, about 14 bidders have received the letter of award. And as you know about, in general, the PLI scheme for various sectors, it offers you 4 to 6% of incentive based on your turnover of incremental sales. So that's a very attractive thing, and it has done wonders as far as mobile manufacturing is concerned in India, and hopefully another sector also so promises. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is National Green Hydrogen Mission. I mean, this is another source of energy. That is why I say the clean cooking, because if you have heard in India, some 2-3 places, NTPC or some other organization have already started blending hydrogen in the piped natural gas, maybe up to, it's not more than 20%, less than 20%, 5 to 10% mostly. So hydrogen, as we know, is one of the cleaner fuel can be used. It's the most abundant element available on Earth, and just by electrolyzing the water, we can break it into hydrogen and oxygen, and that hydrogen is the green hydrogen. If to break the water, we use the green energy. And of course, the challenges here are in manufacturing the large scale electrolyzer and the infrastructure for transportation and storage of hydrogen, those but this mission covers all aspect. And once it is the I mean, by I think 2030, the target is to create a production capacity of green hydrogen of 5 million metric ton in the country. So these are all, as I said in the beginning, that these are various initiatives taken by the government to promote clean cooking or electric cooking. Next slide is whenever there is a supply of renewable energy, what happens that uh, it is not available throughout 24 into 7. So solar power only during daytimes. So what you do in the night or when it is raining, so that is where the concept of energy storage comes into picture. And government has already announced its intention to create an ecosystem for energy storage in the country, which includes a PLI scheme, again a PLI scheme for the advanced chemistry cell, which also finds application in the electric vehicles. But for the storage, for the household application also, this is very applicable. Next slide, please. These are some of the action taken by the government. Star labeling, we all know. Air conditioner, we are using it. For induction stove is also covered now. And the BIS standard has already been, and it is covered under compulsory registration scheme from BIS. So this, as for safety standard and performance also, the regulations are in place. Next slide, please. This is another National Efficient Cooking Program, which is being implemented by Energy Efficiency Services Limited, ESL, under Ministry of Power. And the, the idea is to distribute about 2 million energy efficient induction cook stove at a cost advantage. And I am very happy to tell that these initial 20,000 is already being implemented. And this is the Modern Energy Cooking Services Program is supporting this distribution process. Next slide, please. Strengthening of electrical transmission and distribution infrastructure is again very important, as we mentioned in the earlier about the need of a strong electrical infrastructure to take the additional load. And here number of schemes are being implemented, which you can see on the slide about the strengthening of our electrical infrastructure, which means transmission line, transformer, and that, and also to reduce the transmission losses. And last but not the last one is especially important. It is not about the infrastructure, but it's about the time tariff during the peak hour, when the tariff would be higher compared to to another lean hour, and it one can reallocate the time for cooking and other purposes to reduce their energy consumption. And the next slide, please. I've just mentioned that these initiatives, in briefly, I have spoken about. You can refer to the policy compendium, which has been brought out by Finovesta, and it is available at the link given here. Next slide. The way forward, I have just said, because their substantial initiative are already in place, but not enough, as we feel. So new policies and program needed to promote electric cooking, and some of them I have tried to list based on our assessment. One of them is what is the current status of electric supply and grid capability to support cooking appliances, so as the grid capacity, especially in rural areas, are strengthened. Then can we shift a bit of LPG, a portion of LPG subsidy amount towards promoting the electricity distribution network and other things related to electric cooking? And also the kind of assessment of the electric cooking appliances which are available. How much is the import content? Can we reduce it? Can we reduce, increase the value addition in the local manufacturing of such devices? Of course, PLI scheme is of this there, but not for induction cooker stove or any other cooking device. And of course, the innovations in e-cooking appliances such as IoT integration, AI-enabled functionalities, which and complemented with smart grid capability. These are the things which as listed as suggestions for the coming months, years, so as to we can fast forward the whole process of transition. So I think that was the last slide, except my thank you to everybody listening to it. Thank you, Satya.
Thank you, sir. Your slide shows some of very important programs and policies and schemes by Government of India, and all these are consolidated in a compendium form. I think you can also download it. We have pasted the link in the chat. If not, someone will definitely paste it. Uh, we have already exceeded the time, but uh, we will move on with our next speaker. This time we are also in phase 4, starting with India Africa knowledge sharing sessions. And for the first session, I would like to call Ms. Beryl Onjala, Research Associate at Gamers East Africa. Beryl is a researcher in energy access space, working at the intersection of electrification and clean cooking, and on the sustainability, inclusiveness, and governance of mini grids in sub-Saharan Africa. She holds an MA in economics from University of Nairobi and has worked as a researcher and program officer at several key institutions. So welcome, Beryl. You can share your screen and start. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Yeah, as the host mentioned, I know that there's a bit of a time constraint, so I will try to keep this brief. So today, I will be taking everyone through the two main strategies that we have been part of developing that touch on electric cooking in Kenya. So this was developed using support from UK Pact and following a request from the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum here in Kenya. We were able to support them in the development of a national cooking transition strategy and a national electric cooking strategy. So just to give an overview of the national cooking transition strategy. This is an overarching strategy where we worked with a consultant to model the potential for transitioning youth through different transition pathways. That's transitioning from the predominantly used fuels in Kenya. That's traditional biomass stoves, charcoal stoves, and looking at how to facilitate and transition to improved cook stove options and more cleaner and more modern forms of cooking fuels in Kenya. Following the assessment of all the different challenges, the different factors, we identified a number of action points, developed an action agenda to facilitate this transition, looking at addressing issues in the supply chain, addressing the affordability of clean cooking fuels, one of which is electric cooking, and also looking at the availability of low cost or no cost alternatives for cooking in the country. So I'm glad a lot of these issues have already been touched on by the different presenters that spoke ahead of me. But on the supply gap, we are looking at a hub and spoke approach that leverages public institutions as fuel supply points in order to reach the local community with different fuel options that were identified as key within the transition pathways that were defined. We are also looking at providing incentives for stove and appliance distributors in order to facilitate an expansion of the networks and the reach using different clean cooking fuel options. And then on affordability, this is about lowering the upfront costs and leveraging finance from clean cooking core benefits. So one of the approaches that has been defined here is looking at the potential for leveraging carbon finance to facilitate transition within households and institutions alike. And then also on awareness creation, this is mainly looking at raising awareness at the point of the end users, informing them of the benefits and the different benefits of transitioning, and also awareness creation among policy makers on the potential for economic growth as a driver, on the benefits of transitioning the different agents to drive up economic growth. So to move on to the e-cooking strategy, here we started by doing a baseline study to understand the current electricity access scenario in Kenya, and also understand the e-cooking reach currently. So as of now, about 81% of Kenyans have access to electricity, and 24% own an electric cooking appliances, and up to 1% cook primarily with electricity in Kenya. So given this baseline where a number of approaches were taken, including household surveys and modeling scenarios with different actors within the sector. It was found that up to 69.09% of Kenyans are ready to transition to cooking with electricity if we are only considering issues of electricity access. But if you look at there's some modeling that has gone into understanding what the actual potential for transition is based on different factors, such as the current strategies within other sectors, considering a multi-fuel strategy to this transition. So what other initiatives are there in the clean cooking space, and how we can situate electric cooking within all those other initiatives that are there within the e-cooking sector and within other sectors such as LPG, because currently when you look at the clean cooking in Kenya, what is used mostly is LPG. But given the modeling that was done, considering all these factors, then it is expected that there will be an upward trajectory for electric cooking, going up to about 40% by 2050 in Kenya. And also, if you look at this further, then you will find that LPG use is projected to decrease in this time, and also considering other fuels that are currently there. So the strategy identifies three broad systemic enablers to facilitate this transition, this projected transition in the short term and also in the long term. So the first is strengthening the enabling environment around e-cooking, that's establishing a strong foundation to facilitate widespread adoption and leveraging any current advancements in e-cooking in order to tackle the challenges that were identified during the baseline. So here, six smaller measures are identified under this umbrella, including establishing a steering committee, boosting local manufacturing, and then there's offering training and capacity building to the end users and also policymakers alike, and then addressing issues of quality standards for electric cooking appliances, looking at end-of-life management, and then looking at both on and off-grid investments that could facilitate this transition. The second broad enabler is identifying innovative electric cooking solutions. So some of these we have already begun working with the ministry on, and are currently exploring, say, leveraging carbon financing in electric cooking. So this is being done in conjunction with the different ministries that are involved, and also the private sector, who are the ones driving this particular process. And then we are also working with the ministry to identify and set an to identify and assess the viability of an electric cooking tariff. This is for both households, institutions, and commercial settings. So here we are working with them to do studies that will lead up to an experiment around the viability of electric cooking and how it links up to demand stimulation for the national utility. We've also been working on a number of institutional electric cooking pilots, looking at a range of appliances for electric cooking and assessing their viability. These appliances are inclusive of large EPCs. We are also exploring the viability of electric powered steam cooking, along with other electric cooking appliances that are currently available or being imported into Kenya. We've also been working with the Treasury or at designing strategies to work with the Treasury or around designing a tax waiver study, and also continuing the work that we have been doing around solar powered cooking, battery supported electric cooking. So on the final systemic enabler, we are looking at bridging the affordability and access gaps for electric cooking solutions through awareness creation initiatives and financing schemes for especially the end users, and to be able to access various electric cooking appliances. So this is the final slide, which really just breaks down what I have already mentioned regarding the electric cooking tariff study and the work that we are doing with the ministry around trying to design a dedicated tariff for cooking within the different households, businesses, and institutional settings. So taking on an experimental design to understand what the impact of rebates are on electric cooking and what the potential for driving up electric cooking is from these different rebates that are introduced. So for now, I'll stop there, but I'll share these slides with the Finovista team, and they can be circulated following this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Beryl, for this very insightful session and slides. So we have exceeded our time, so we would not be able to take the questions. But of course, you can put the questions on the email or contact provided to you, and we will try to answer it or connect you to the respective speakers as much as we can. So with this, I would like to thank you all of our speakers and participants and Finovista team for this successful session. And we have started the phase 4, and looking forward to more such insightful sessions in future. So stay tuned. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Satyam, and everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.